Welcome to the St. Matthew training video on generating reports in QuickBooks. So I've logged into QuickBooks and this is the company home page. This is a profit and loss report. What I wanted to explain was how QuickBooks is set up. We have accounts for the income and expense, and there are accounts that are like categories, like 4,000, and then there are sub-accounts like 4001, which is the weekly envelope. What we try to do is not use 4,000 to put any entries in, because that's a grouping account. We want all the detail in the specific accounts. If you do put some transactions in the grouping account, it will automatically create a sub-account called Church Contributions Other in this case, and always adds this other on the end of it. So then you can easily identify that there's transactions that are supposed to be in one of these subcategories but have not been assigned there, so we need to go in there and change that. So there's accounts and sub-accounts. Then there are classes, and then also subclasses. So for example, here in 12 is the worship area. We'll move this over. So here's the total worship, 12, but it's broken down to 12.1, 12.2, 12.21, and 12.3. These are the subclasses of class 12 worship. And so you have the same accounts, different classes. So you can have different expenses. Like here, ministry expenses non-specified. That's used a lot with the different classes. And you can see each particular area of ministry and how much they've spent according to their class, but it's all using the same account. Now, to get a listing of the accounts, you can go to Reports, Memorized, Account Listing. I've made this custom report for us that shows all the bank accounts and the descriptions of to what their purpose is and what they accomplish. And you can print this list. Another way to see the chart of accounts is to go to Lists, Chart of Accounts, and then you'll see them within QuickBooks, but you can't print this list. But you can edit them. You can edit their settings and the type of account and make it a sub-account or not, etc. The other thing that we talked about with classes, to see the classes and to print out that list, you go to List, Class List, and here are all the classes. Now the ones that have X's aren't means that they're inactive. So these are the, and we can uncheck those. So these are the classes that we currently use with all the accounts that we currently have. So with that in mind, when you go to look at reports, it's important to remember what classes are selected and what accounts are selected. So when we go to reports and we just do a company financial profit and loss standard that's system generated from QuickBooks, we'll see our contributions, our rent, but then it also includes scrip, cost of goods sold, and all of the accounts and all their activity. But it also includes all the classes. So this report won't work if you want to take it to a voters meeting or an LT meeting, because it includes all the classes. If you want to look just at what the church budget is, then you have to eliminate the class. We can do it two ways. One is by looking at a saved report that I already did, or modify the report. And I'm going to show you how to modify a report so you can do this yourself. You can change the date range if you want to. The filters, we want all of them, but we want only certain classes. So here's where we go to class, and we don't want one particular class, we want multiple classes. So then we're going to go through and we're going to check them, and we'll just use the down arrow key in the space bar to go around and check the classes that pertain to the budget. You can see all the classes and subclasses. Okay? And then we can edit the header and the footer if we wanted. So now we're going to hit OK, and you're going to see this report change. There, now it's changed, so you can see the activity for the month of this week in June without script, without anything else. It's just, so this is what the budget is happening with the budget. Therefore, then you can create profit and loss statements for the script program, which is not budgeted, and you can make profit and loss statements for all kinds of things based on their class. So we'll go to the memorized profit and loss report, columns by month, and you can see all the activity for all the months and all the classes, and all the classes are assumed. The totals across the top are the dates, the month. The classes are set in the modifying report settings, filters. We go down to classes, it says multiple classes. Let's see what those multiples are. And there they are. Those are all the ones we want for the budget. So usually if there's a discrepancy between reports when you generate them, that's the first place I look, is for the classes. Are all the classes the same? To compare the two types of reports if you do that. For me, there's too much detail at this point, so I want to collapse. There, so then I get the main categories of the accounts, and all the sub-accounts are in that total for that line. So then I can see how we're doing month to month and where we are year to date. Right here. Now notice we took the insurance money out of the budget so that we realize, I'm not even sure if it should be down here in other income, but otherwise it would throw off our budget numbers. Now we know this project is coming up in the next fiscal year, so that's why it's out here. So we know this is where we stand at the end of the fiscal year. This is where we stood at the end of the month, which significantly tapped into the previous month's surplus. But then you got to add it all up to see where the running balance is. So that's the profit and loss column by month. Another common report that we do is comparing it to the budget. So in Memorize Reports, we go to Current Reports, Profit and Loss Budget versus Actual. And now here is the budget. Now we want to change the date through the end of May. Refresh. So all this does, though, is because this is the time period, July through May, the budget is only July through May. It's not the annual budget. So I use this report to see if we're on track with like our payments to Sid and FEL. Yep, we're right on. And our offerings are right on what we predicted. And then you can look at the other expenses, but usually those are going to fluctuate because the budget is based on an annual, not on a per month basis where it fluctuates month to month. So this is where we are, and that was the same number we had on the columns by month report, which is good. And then this is what our budget says we should be at this point in time. So we're doing really good. But we also know what's coming in June, and that expenses typically exceed income in June, so we're going to tap into some of the surplus in June and probably balance out the fiscal year. We also can look at the budget, where you can just look at the current fiscal year budget. So this is an overall view of the annual budget. And if you wanted to get more detail, you can expand it to see the different accounts and how much is budgeted for each account. So this concludes a brief overview of generating reports in QuickBooks.